So, one of the questions that I want to propose to everybody today is your fear of being alone fueling your anxious attachment style? Therefore, so you have a secure attachment style. You have healthy boundaries, emotional availability, and it doesn't fear intimacy or independence. And the next one is the avoidant attachment style. Struggles with closeness, needs a lot of space, emotionally distant, and fears losing its autonomy. So, anxious attachment, which is pretty much inside of the beginning, it says craves closeness, fears abandonment, overly sensitive to relationship dynamics, and needs constant reassurance. And the fourth one is fearful avoidant. This one is very disorganized. It says wants closeness but fears it, unpredictable, trauma linked, and craves connection but sabotages it. So I feel like in life, all of us have had each of these attachment styles based off of like how that person, like what they contribute to our life,
Like
what they
in that particular relationship.
in that particular relationship. Yeah.
I don't think
That's
so.
interesting, right? I was gonna say I don't know.
I don't entirely agree.
Everyone has.
You don't
felt each
agree?
of these.
I don't think so. I think attachment styles are kind of like personality traits.
Okay.
Like everyone has their own particular way of how they attach themselves to other people. Now, how they attach is, like, of course, linked to either past experiences, what's learned behavior, or just naturally what their body is or what their soul is kind of moving toward or craving to.
I really like learned behavior.
So for me, the attachment style that most clicked to me, unfortunately, was the avoidant.
Okay.
So I am and I can be very emotionally distant. I don't like the feeling of being vulnerable with people, and I seek security more so. I seek more emotional security in a lot of relationships, but that's something that I struggle to give up because, again, I like my autonomy. I like being able to have control within myself, and I don't trust people enough to feel comfortable enough to fully give up that part of my autonomy. And that's something that I'm still trying to necessarily balance between being someone's partner, but also maintaining and still being myself without entirely cutting off the emotional connection.
The thing that I was about to say is, what is the thing that builds confidence inside for you inside of a relationship?
One, it starts from inner to outer. So you have to, something that I'm also learning as well, I have to develop and learn what makes me about my autonomy, as well as the things that I am lacking in my life in terms of the ways that I need security, either emotionally or whatever. I need to be able to know how to provide that for myself.
Yes.
So I know how to either explain or express it to someone else who needs to provide it for me. With autonomy for me, the feeling of being either trapped or confined within a space without having the space to grow and evolve and develop, that is like a strong fear of mine. And the feeling of getting lost and specifically myself, like me, like as Katie, getting lost within a relationship.
I don't know how I would describe my attachment style. I think historically, like, it would have made sense to say avoidant, but I feel like historically I have just like avoided relationships 100%.
Yeah.
Where it's like I am not interested in getting into a relationship, so
I
I'm
would
not
agree.
going
Yeah,
to.
especially like in the beginning, you would just be like, I'm marching to the beat of my own drum.
Yeah, right. And like that was it. Like I'm out here and like I'm not pressed about getting into a relationship with anyone. And then like over the years, it was like, okay, like I can kind of start to see the benefits or grew the desire to be in a relationship. And then now that I'm, let's say in one that is like, committed relationship, in love and all of these things, I don't think okay, I'm not gonna say what I was gonna say. Okay. So I don't feel anxiously attached. It almost feels cocky to say that I have a secure attachment style.
No, that's the healthiest.
But I do feel like that's what give me the like things about it again.
Okay, so a secure attachment style is healthy boundaries, emotional availability, and doesn't fear intimacy or independence.
Yeah, that feels.
I don't fear it. I want it. Right. It's learning to curate that space within yourself, but also picking the right partner who also is able to give you that same thing. I feel like at least one person in the relationship needs to have a secure attachment style in order for it to be, or as close to as a secure attachment style as possible. Being able to see it put in action makes it much easier, at least for me, makes it much easier to do the same thing or take the steps to repeat and make sure I have that same environment for myself, because if I'm curating that for myself, it's going to bleed over and curate that for you as well.
I like that.
I agree.
So I would say for you, I have had all of them.
You've had all of them
Okay, so
in our relationship.
let's go.
Like you towards her.
Yes, but it's been more of a process. I would say I was.
Is that because she was so independent and because of her independence, it was like, I need to hold on a little, like.
So it was pretty much like traumaling, and I'll go ahead and
Yes,
get back
I'll do
into
that.
once closeness but fears it, unpredictable, traumaling, craves connection but sabotages it.
Okay.
So at
That
the
is,
beginning,
yeah, actually, yeah.
so that was definitely at the beginning, like failed relationships, girlfriends who would ghost me, so on and so forth. And then even me, there was a young lady, and I say this with the most respect because you're right here. Like, yeah, she was probably the one that got away. I definitely sabotaged it because I had went with another option that I had, and she broke my heart. She ghosted me. She dumped me. And then that's pretty much how most of my dating relationships, once I got to college, because I wasn't dating in high school. I wasn't even dating in middle school. Maybe
is-
a school dance.
Arguably,
Yeah.
nowadays things are different.
Yeah.
But should
Fairly
be normal.
normal, fairly
It should
normal.
be normal.
So craves closeness, fears abandonment, overly sensitive to relationship dynamics, and needs constant reassurance.
I definitely
So
see that.
when the communication wasn't there in the beginning, you know what I'm saying? Like, can you think about the times where it was like, oh my God, like, yeah.
And then that was partly I had to learn. I mean, of course, you have to learn each other in a relationship. I had to learn better ways to be reassuring with you as well, because I feel like I didn't
That is the
100% know what you needed, and like I had to figure out that it was like, oh, okay, like this is what helps you feel secure, and like it wasn't something that was like that I was naturally going to do without
the
learning about you.
piece.
What?
That's the piece. Like, I'm so glad you said that. No, there's like having that security for yourself is one thing, but learning to be that level of support for someone else, especially when you haven't had the experience or the knowledge or the know-how, or even because like you said, like some people have that natural like caring ability about them, so it
Right.
kind of just comes naturally. But for some people, it doesn't come that naturally to them. So I feel like that causes a lot of discourse and discomfort and dissonance in relationships, because you have one person who wants and needs this particular attention or care or reassurance, and you
Right.
have the other person who wants to give it to them and realize and recognize that they need something, but it's like, I have no tools to myself, no tools, no nothing that could help you in this situation. So now I'm just sitting here like,
And it's like,
and it's a very uncomfortable space to be in.
Right.
And it's just kind of like, I want to help you, but I don't know how to. Or it's like, I don't know how to help you, and I'm uncomfortable because I've never had to help anyone in this way.
is that I've never had to do this before, and like there's no frame of reference to like I want to give you what you need, figuring out what it is that you need.
And then asking for it feels really stupid. Like
Yeah, it
asking,
feels-
like
yes.
it's like, and I've had to get over that, being like, okay, like, and I've conversation I had with the person yesterday, I had like more or less said, like, in those particular situations,
Right.
I'm going to ask you, hey, if we see this situation coming up, what do you need from me in order for you to feel more safe, more grounded, or whatever the case may be? If you need me to leave you alone, I'll leave you alone. If you need me to just sit with you and then not necessarily talk or anything like that, but you just need my
Right.
presence, cool, I got you. If you just like, hey, like, I want to take a walk or something, those are the kind of like questions that not many people ask, but those are the crucial questions, but those are the most uncomfortable. Because then someone, depending on who you're dealing with, could be like, well, how do you not know these things? Or you should know.
Emotional intimacy.
Yeah. And it's just like, or when someone asks, they're just like, wait, why are you asking? Like, are you going to use this like again? Like,
To weaponize. Yes.
yeah.
Uh-huh.
So it's a very interesting balancing game. And again, it ties back to, you have to have that have some of that within yourself first. One, because it makes it easier to receive, and you're not as likely to put up those boundaries or those barriers or be defensive if someone is willing and offering to try and figure out how to best help you in those situations.
Yes.
Yes.
So piggybacking off of that, because avoidant attachment, that's pretty much what I mentioned inside of the title, struggles with closeness, needs a lot of space, emotionally distanced, fears losing autonomy. I feel like we both struggle with this. I feel like there was levels to it. I don't think that there was, well, I'm not going to say we both struggle with it. I feel like I struggle with it more. You are independent. Like you're grown.
I don't fear that you're going to take my independence.
No, never yet.
Right. I feel like in the past, historically, you've had moments where you felt like the things that I was saying or doing were affecting your autonomy. Even though that would never be my intention, never something that I would, be manipulative enough to do. But I feel like you've experienced that before. And so things that I'm like, I'm doing something or saying something and it doesn't like mean that to me, but you're associating with
trauma.
Yeah, definitely like traumatic previous relationships. Like definitely trauma in that, oh, well, you are like this thing that you're doing or saying is going to affect my autonomy. Even though for me, I'm like, no, like.
I feel like even the avoidant attachment, that spills over into like regular relationships too, non-romantic. I do feel like I struggle with closeness with people. And then I
like
do
even
need
friends?
Yes.
Like, is it more of that fear of being vulnerable, like having someone see you for truly who it is that you are and being accepted by that? Or is it the feeling or the idea of just opening yourself up is it's a very uncomfortable, it's a very vulnerable experience to do. But just the feeling of you want to keep like something for yourself. You know what I mean?
So we were talking about internal theater and internal dialogue. Mm-hmm. So my if-then statements, because I do enjoy science, is if I open up to this person, then they'll leave. And that was something that played over and over in my head.
Gotcha.
So it has something to do with opening up and then being abandoned.
Gotcha.
And then fears of losing autonomy. I feel like I kind of try to fit the mold of a person based on our experiences, what they're interested in the beginning. Mm-hmm. And, with us, it was so natural because we're both filmmakers. Mm-hmm. And then you have a foundation with God, emotionally distant, fears losing autonomy. Like, yes, I do. Yeah, absolutely. And that's probably the other thing that led to the Labor Day debacle. Mm-hmm. So again, it was like, if I make all the money and everything is taken care of, like, why are you tripping? And then I just went out there and I did whatever I wanted to do. And that costed me physically, emotionally, and spiritually. So yes, sleeping on this interstate. We'll talk about it one day, guys. So here we are is secure attachment. Healthy boundaries, emotional availability, doesn't fear intimacy or independence. And as a result of us having conversations, multiple conversations, like communication, especially after we talked about communication, that was one of those things that I feel like has drastically improved mental health, mental clarity, and everything else, because we don't have long drawn out arguments anymore. We pretty much like try to settle everything and bring up our differences and not necessarily try to rehash the past, but we try to make sure that everything is smoothed over like towards the end. So I feel like where I am right now is a secure attachment style. Would you agree?
Would I agree? Mm-hmm. I would even say, this is interesting. Mm-hmm. In our relationship, I feel like you've made drastic improvements in the direction of a secure attachment style. However, I feel like we're getting a little invasive here. However, I also feel like some of your attachment styles to other people in your life are not that way necessarily. And because of that, like that still has like an effect
on you.
Yes.
I agree, because, it's kind of even one of those things like right now, like my mind is racing for,
I know exactly. And the thing is, like, I know exactly what's in your mind. I know exactly what you're thinking and why you're thinking it and what's about to happen. However, for me, like, I want you to fight it. Mm-hmm. Like, I want so badly, I want you to fight that, like, anxious, like, mode that you were in, because I don't feel that it is necessary for you to feel that way. Like, I feel like there is a perfectly calming solution without getting into like details.
But it's a learned, at least the response, at least the anxious response is a learned behavior.
It is definitely
it's a Pavlov's dog learned behavior. So there are going to be particular things, and that's why, like, even with other things, even with our other communication conversations, I've always tried to stress it's always an ebb and flow. Like, you're never going to be perfectly in secure attachment. You're never going to perfectly be, but the goal is to try to maintain or make steps or goals to reach that and be as consistent with that as possible.
Yes.
So with like those particular things that trigger, it's on your partner to understand your triggers.
Okay.
Now, also, it's your responsibility to fully understand your triggers as well, because self-awareness and full self-awareness. Even if you understand, like, hey, I don't understand why this triggered me the way that it did, but it's not a normal trigger. Let's take a second, and I want to think about this, and I want to like understand, and then we'll figure out how to best like maneuver around it later, or how to best deal with it if it comes up again.
Right.
Because you don't want it, because as much as we say, like, within that secure attachment is giving your partner the playbook. Like, you have to give them some type of rules to follow or playbook or boundaries so that they know how to, one, help you, and they know how to and you know how to help yourself. So if it's something that Dennis needs to be by himself on and you don't know that, and you're trying to like be like, oh my gosh, like, hey, like whatever, and he's like, yo, you're overstimulating me, stop. Like, I don't.
Yeah.
Then
like Friday.
Then the dissonance comes in. But if you know that if this particular situation happens, you know he just needs a minute to decompress and he'll kind of put himself back in neutral. You leave him alone for a minute, and let him be. But that still comes with time, and that comes with like
learning
practice.
the other person, knowing yourself, learning the other person, practice, being able to go through different situations, because like you can't like expect to have all this information and you dated somebody for 2 weeks.
Right.
Like you go through seasons, go through the full year, which is baseline, and then really the literal seasons, winter, summer, go through all of it, and then a couple rounds.
Yeah, and not even just the seasons of just those, but even the seasons of, we're having a prosperous season right now. We're having like, this season is the season of regret, not even regret, but it's the season of it's like a down season. It's a season of reflection. It's the season of grounding. It's a lot of like shadow work being done and things like that. A lot of uncomfortabilities, transition, like knowing your partner during these times of specifically during times of transition. I feel like, and when you start to realize that you yourself are changing or your partner is changing, it's kind of like you're on you're given two paths now. It's like you can choose to stay on the same path that you've been going on, and in doing so could possibly stray from where your partner is developing or evolving into, either good or bad. Or you can decide, no, I'm going to choose to stick with this person and still be there to support them during this particular time as well.
Right. And shift, make the adjustments, whatever it is that they need at this particular point in time.
Yes.
Until we get back to equilibrium.
Yes.